Due to a heightened level of security, no colored liquid or people are allowed to board a plane.
It's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. Yeah, it's about the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got the love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. You can't make a change unless you got some love change. Do it with some soul and a little love change. We started from the bottom, talking about the roots. Every time I'm in the booth, I gotta shoot the truth.
Welcome to season 2, episode 10. Well, I mean, really, welcome to the Boondocks Podcast, but we're covering season 2, episode 10, Home Alone, in which Granddad takes a much-needed vacation from the boys. Huey takes control of the house, but he has to contend with a vicious insurgency from Riley. We know a lot about that, y'all. But before we get into that, how y'all living?
Welcome back, MJ.
Yeah.
Hey, I missed everybody. I did want to give a shout out to the 2 guest hosts that you had.
Demond and Drake.
I appreciate you very, very much.
The good Drake.
Yes.
What?
American Drake.
It's okay. It's okay.
American Drake.
Yes.
You guys know how I feel about Drake Aubrey Graham. Like,
I have no
he's my
issues with
everything.
him, honestly. Although, here he goes with that Kardashian tip. But I won't do it.
Do you believe that?
I have no idea what any of y'all are talking about.
Allegedly, Drake and Kim Kardashian have a flirtation going on. Do I believe it? No. Do I not believe it? No.
I wouldn't be
Whatever.
surprised. I mean,
Yeah.
she's
Right.
she's divorcing
Drake is not that
Kanye.
much trash. Yeah, but you understand that in the past, like, week, well, you don't follow. In the past week, she's been, oh my God, the biggest mistake I've ever made. Today's his birthday, so she sent out a, what I like to call it, iOS press release. Because everybody does their press releases and shit through their Instagram and their phones now.
Okay.
Need the drums right there. You have it, babe? Yep. See, nope, not that one. Not the. That was about to drop. Is the bass drop? Not that one. But yes. Anyway, so she made a post today saying that she'll always love him. Blah blah blah. She made a mistake. She feels like a loser, and I'm like, well, you're not you were successful at marriage,
Wait,
so therefore,
Talking about Kanye?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So when you're not a success, your kids aren't going to go and look. My parents had the best marriage ever. You didn't make it, so yeah, you did fail. Sorry.
Marriage failing isn't the end of the world, though.
It's not.
Right.
But yeah, I thought Kim was ride or die. I will tell you, I am a little disappointed because I thought that she was going to ride it out.
I get it, but
But
you've never been in love with somebody with a severe mental illness, though.
at 1,000%, that's exactly what I was going to say. I can't, from the
Like,
outside.
we don't know what it's like at home, and I've known people who, both medicated and unmedicated, had mental illnesses that would change their behavior
Oh, yeah.
in public and in private. And when everything that I know about Kanye from the last couple of years makes me wonder how she made it this long, honestly. Like, if he was actively refusing to take medication for what is probably bipolar, the lows alone, like, we were seeing the highs, we were seeing the manic of him, running for president and all of that could absolutely be a manic episode. We don't know what happens when it goes the other way. And knowing the people that I've known when it goes the other way, it can be really, really bad. Yeah. Anyway.
1,000%. I'm still a Chloe, Chloe's my girl. Like, me and Chloe are homies. I'm shaking his head at it. So he told everybody at the campsite that he tells everybody about the whole G-Eazy. And I told you guys about that, how I get text messages because G-Eazy, we're friends. I get text messages from him and from a blogger, Jason Lee. And my husband goes and tells everybody, oh, you guys want to know how crazy she is? She thinks. And I'm like, will you stop telling people that? So I have to take my phone out and show people my text messages. Like, I'm not
I
crazy.
hate Jason Lee. Jesus Christ.
And then
But we're gonna take this way off.
Stop it. We'll do that. We'll do that another time. We'll do that next week at the pre-show because this one is about to start something. I don't think I've heard it, but we'll do that then. We'll do it then. But yes. So I'm back, guys. Did you guys miss me? Bring up my craziness right back with me.
Well, I can tell you that if you go back and listen to like the pre-show stuff that we recorded when we weren't sure what was going on, it was a lot of me going, I don't want to do this if MJ's not coming because the dynamic is so. But then, you know, we made it work. But like that was always my first instinct. Like I like the dynamic of the three of us together. And it was, I love Demond and I love Drake. And I'm so thankful for them for stepping in and had a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, it's different.
Yeah, you bring a little tears to my eye. Thank you so much. No, I wish you believe me, I would have much rather been on than like telling a kid, don't climb on put the bat down. No bat in the dugout. Like, stop climbing on the gate. I don't care if he yelled in your ear. Like, yeah. Billy.
Yep. And not surprised.
Okay. My boys, I told my 12-year-old yesterday, because hubby and I get back from running errands. We pull into the house at the driveway and he comes running out and he's like, the meat that I took out is still frozen. You know, and I was like, so how frozen? He's like, really frozen. I said, okay, so what are you trying to say? We would like Subway for dinner. And I was like, fine, we're going to go to Subway. So when we come back, he comes out, grabs a Subway, nothing else. There was other bags in the car. He didn't grab anything else but a Subway. And I was like, boy, look, when you get into the NBA, this is the formula, okay? Every amount of Subway that I bought, I'm going to go ahead and times that, times 100 for the year. Then times that, times the years. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the 7. And he was looking at me and he just kept walking in the house. I was like, you don't want to know what? Oh, all right. So yeah, that's one of the joys. Also, being a parent, spending 20 freaking bucks because your kids want to go to Subway. Now, I didn't get anything for me and hubby. Just those two, $20. First of all, for those of you that don't have any.
My stepson now works at Subway, so I probably will not be eating at Subway for because he wants something else for his birthday. Like, he doesn't even want Subway anymore.
He would get sick of me. I'd be like, hey, tuna sandwich? Bring that on home. Thank you. Protein bowl? Bring that on home. Oh, yeah. I love Subway. That's a good job.
Yeah. He's ridiculously responsible for a kid who's about to graduate from high school in a pandemic. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Good for him.
Yeah. So, oh hey, it's I don't even know what date is it? Yeah. Okay. So it's June. It's gay month. It's Pride. It's awesome. And today somebody on Twitter actually, I think it might have been Demond, recommended us to a podcast to. God damn it, I can't think of to a podcast thing on Twitter that was basically looking for podcasts that talk about LGBTQ issues and brought us up because queer. So I just wanted to.
I love it. I was like, this whole audio.
Big old queer over here.
Like, put a big old text above your head that just blinks.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I think that's really cool. So shout out to Demond. Like I saw that. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah.
You know, more exposure. And it does bring us up to another audience that I know I didn't think about really tapping into. And yeah, happy Pride Month. I know it's about to be lit. Like California opens on the 15th. Oof. It's about to be ridiculous. I know the Bay, Lindsay, I'm sure you know how it's going to be out in the Bay. We celebrate hard out here. Pride is like a.
Do you know what the vaccination rate's going on in your area?
70%.
That's great. Like that's more than a lot of places. So.
Yeah, I think California is doing really well. I think overall.
Yeah. I think we're leading the states.
Nice. Yeah.
I think.
Washington, I know of everybody eligible. I think it was at 70%. And then in Seattle, it's even higher than that. So I don't know exactly. Like,
I feel like all the other states are doing well. I don't watch the regular news, but I ended up stumbling on last night an ABC story or something like that, and they were showing the states where that has the lowest, vaccinations, and it's surprise, surprise, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. It's like that little bunch right there on that side of the country. And what's sad to me, and we don't have, we want to get on the soapbox, but we know where that is, what the population mainly is there. And then also there's a lot less people. So when you have a lot less people, they're further away. I think people don't think about, the passing it on because they're like, my neighbor is 7 miles away. Or my town has 150 people in it, so that's some of it, but also
there's also a lot of distrust in the South, period. With all people. Like I have family down there in Louisiana and Texas, and we every once in a while, because we're all kind of hoping to have a memorial for my dad. Although I'm not entirely sure if they really want to do one in person, because that would be all of them coming to me instead of me going down to the. But I'm not going to go to the South anymore. But anyway, I've got, a couple of aunts and a cousin who are still really hesitant to get it. And totally understand why. These are, well, not poor, but these are disenfranchised Black people in very segregated areas of this country, and it's sad. I was watching something. It was an interview with someone who was talking about leaving a small town. It might have been a TikTok, where basically saying like, as I was growing up, this is what I believed, and this is what everybody believed, and this is what everybody did, and this is what everybody thought. And then I went to college in a city, and suddenly I understood that the things that I knew were not actual reality. It's like, that's true. It's like echo chambers especially in those small Southern towns. And it leads to a lot of distrust because you don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
And especially after the last couple of years.
And I know a lot of people do, from those areas, they do get their information from Facebook or, from something that a friend shared, which is through Facebook. It's crazy how that is the focus or where they get their information from. But then that also leads to why it was so important that Facebook had to be responsible about what was being posted, on their platform, because there are so many people that do go to, there for information. I have a lot of family in Jackson, Mississippi. So believe me, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's kind of where I had the problem with the Johnson & Johnson, because it was like, you guys want to give this to the people that are uneducated and the poorest people because you want to have them go, oh, it's only one time. Let me go ahead and get the shot. But the efficacy of it is crap.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. So you guys are basically, whether you're knowing it or not, which I definitely think they're knowing what they're doing, you guys are basically, let's go ahead and use Black people and brown people and poor people as a sample once again. Let's go ahead and see what we can do in this study. Yeah. So kind of crappy there. So I see it, but I think that we should be very happy about where we are now versus where we were in January.
Oh yeah, big time.
So, yeah.
And just Dean just looked it up. All three of the Western states are at about 48% of the total, fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
Those didn't show, I know that in the 70% thing is people with at least one vaccination.
Okay.
Which in some of the smaller towns, like my nephew, it took him almost 6 weeks to get his second dose because he does not live somewhere where you can easily access it too. Not just the fact that he lives in Q country. But that's going to change soon. So
yeah, my baby, we decided to get the oldest one, the one who can get, the juice. We got him. So he has the second one tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'll probably be dealing with somebody that's going to be feeling a little run down and things over the next couple of days. That second one hit hubby and I hard. So I'll assume that's going to hit him. But he's younger. It
made me feel weird and blah, but the first shot for me was worse. Like the first shot knocked me on my ass for a full day. The second one, I kind of felt like I felt like I was coming down with something, but I never actually felt sick. Does that make sense?
Oh, we were in this bed. I was like, children, eat whatever. Carpet, I don't care. We're right here. Like, we really just slept. I think we slept 15 hours.
That was me with the first one, yeah.
Yeah, it's really kind of more lethargic feeling, I guess. So,
yeah.
But, his hormones are on point. So we'll see how this works with the growing hormonal 12-year-old.
I don't envy parents of kids that young right now. A lot of my students are right below that age and they're desperate to do it, or their older siblings. I have one student in particular, both his older brothers have gotten it, and he's like, I want to get it too so I can go to real school. I get it.
Like, let's get this over with, like chicken pox.
Yes, exactly.
Get over it. Yeah. It's a little different, guys. Still a little different than chicken pox. I had chicken pox and measles at the same time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then mumps.
Well, you had some bad luck.
I've had, yeah. I was an allergic kid. I was that type of kid where, like, I used to have to drink mocha mix because I couldn't drink regular milk of anything. I was allergic to everything, like everything. And I grew out of it, and living in Sacramento, it's a city of trees, and people move here and they have the worst allergies ever. And I'm like, I'm kind of used to it. But now at my nice wise age, I'm starting to get really bad eye allergies, and it is not cute at all. Good Lord. But yes, that's a whole different. Once again, not on topic.
That's okay. I totally understand where you're going on that one, though. I had allergy shots when I was a kid. Weekly allergy shots with like their scar tissue in my ass and shit.
I went to Kaiser every Wednesday. I went by myself. I was like 9 years old on the bus, going by myself. That happened, and I would go and it was nothing.
Yeah, it was nothing at the time. And then when I got older and like would get a booster or something, and it would hit scar tissue, and then I'd have a lump, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking gross. Yeah, because it all would just sit right there. Anyway.
You're the only other person that I've known. Look at that. That's ever that. I tell people that and they're like, what?
Right.
Like, I wasn't the only fucking person in the waiting room. Like, so people act like it's so weird. Like, you had what? And like every Wednesday I had an allergy shot.
Yeah.
And people just really, yeah. Look at that.
There was a hospital. So if anybody out there who's from Seattle but hasn't been in Seattle like for very long, where Barnes and Noble is at Northgate used to be a hospital there. And that's where my pediatrician was, at Northgate Hospital. And then we would go to Red Robin afterward because it was right next to it. It was like one of the first Red Robins.
I know Red Robin's been along that long.
I loved it when I was a kid. I can't really eat that as much now.
I go there for beer and I get appetizer, like, because my boys love it there. They can get as many fucking baskets of French fries as they want.
That's Evan. Dean's like, oop. Feed the boy without feeding him $1 million.
Facts.
Anyway, should we start talking about the episode where Riley's a little shit?
Yeah, he is a little shit. Yeah.
Like, I wrote that in big letters at the top of my notes. Like, God, he's such a little shit.
Wait, you needed that? You needed notes to remind you?
Not really, no, but
like, I imagine leaving our boys home. Our boys got into probably the very first physical, thing when we were at home 2 weeks ago. And I was like, babe, okay, we gotta go home. He's like, babe, they're boys. Like, this is what they're gonna do. I'm like, yeah, but what if one hits the other one accidentally? And I'm thinking all SVU-ish. I'm like, what if, something happens? And yeah, so he's like, babe, they're boys. This is what boys do. But I could never go to Costa Rica and leave those children in this house.
Right?
Could never happen.
Right. Okay, let's start off. So the episode starts with Huey and Riley fighting, like physically fighting, rolling on the floor. They're just blending punches everywhere. They break through the bathroom door where Granddad is taking a shower. Granddad is angry because he still has soap in his ass. And so he storms out, basically telling them that, he would drown them in the bathtub and just like, he was just so pissed. Every parent ever has probably had those internal thoughts, but never yelled them out loud. And then,
or maybe not gone to the extreme that Grandpa did. Like, you get very descriptive, and you probably stop short of drowning them in the bathroom. But yeah,
yeah. So then Robert is playing cards with Ruckus and Tom. And Tom, they're talking about how Granddad is just kind of over it, and just these kids are driving him crazy. And they start talking about going on a vacation, and Tom suggests that they go to he goes to Latin America, or like Costa Rica. And he told him he should do it big. So Robert starts fantasizing about it, about the senoritas who would be all over him because of some American change hitting the table, and drinking Cristal, even though Jay-Z wouldn't approve. And
But wait a minute, Robert. I don't think you're supposed to drink Cristal.
Says who?
Says Jay-Z. It's a boycott. The owner said something racial. I don't know.
Oh, hold on. I know what he said. He said, and I quote, "I don't want no big nigga lips drinking my fine wine." And I applaud him for putting conviction over profit.
Well, I don't know if that's what he said, but you're not supposed to drink it.
But I want to drink Chris. Oh, white man. He can't have nothing nice for himself no more. Polo, niggas got to that. Timberland, niggas got to that too. Mercedes, Versace, white women, niggas.
Hey, Robert, if you want beef with The Rock, that's on you. You just better hope the Jigga Man ain't there.
Like,
With The Rock.
there was so much in that.
That was a good one. I forgot about that one. Or just how thorough how many things that it covered.
Right. That were all things that actually were happening in real life around the time.
Yeah.
Like the back in 2006, the director of the company that owns Cristal was not very keen on the rap hip hop image being tied to their product, and said, "But what can we do? We can't forbid people from buying it. I'm sure Dom Perignon or Krug would be delighted to have their business." Jay-Z's response was, "It has come to my attention that the managing director of Cristal, as his name, views the hip hop culture as unwelcome attention." Jay-Z said, "I view his comments as racist and will no longer support any of his products through any of my various brands, including the 40/40 Club, nor in my personal life." So that was the real, thing that happened, that all of that was based on. I know that.
Although I feel like he, behind closed doors, he probably said more like Uncle Ruckus said it.
Right.
Probably.
Right. I'm sure that was the carefully worded, I'm talking to somebody who I know is writing this down, and I want to be as diplomatic as possible.
Whoever the PR department wrote that very nice statement.
That looks like something. No, that's something that he said, and he said it kind of off the cuff. But it's like it's one of those things where he was trying to say it without saying it, and it's obvious.
Oh, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, Cristal has never touched his lips. One, because I was like, oh, why? Like I can get just as lit, if not even litter, off for whatever we used to drink back then. I go to the clearance department whenever I walk into whatever store to do any type of shopping, right? Especially, let's say, clothes or something. I'm not spending a crazy ass amount on one glass, because glasses of champagne, bottles of champagne, what, 4 glasses?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, unless I am just to my lips and to the dome, I'm not doing it. And then I'm not paying for me just to drink a bottle of something crazy expensive. But it definitely was part of the early 2000s, hip hop scene, all the time. People spraying it and blah, blah, blah. I want to thank that person for saying shit like that. And I'm sure Jay-Z does as well, because now Jay-Z is a billionaire.
Right.
And part of his, his portfolio is an alcohol line.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay-Z is a whole lot of fuck around and find out. Like
right?
he did some stupid shit throughout his life, but he is business savvy, and he's like, you're going to pull that shit. All right, look at me. Distillery, brewery. Now what?
And then plus he's like, I can't allow my wife to be richer than me. So he's like, look, we're going to sell this title. We go do this. And I will say, one of the other dumb things that he's done in his life, I don't know if you've seen him recently.
Nope.
But I don't know what he's doing with his hair. Oh my God. He was just on The Shop, which is LeBron, who's somebody else who needs to just let it go with his hair. He was on it's the HBO series, and I caught a glimpse of it the other day, because he was talking about how childhood has changed him, and how, like Blue Ivy basically lets him know he's not that important. Like she'll be like, whatever, Dad, pick me up after school, But I was so distracted by, get it. I get it if you're trying to really connect with their ancestry.
I see.
You see what you see?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So right after that, Tom decides that he wants to go with Robert on this trip, and he's super excited about it. And of course, Robert is not sure that that's a good idea. Hence the daydream that gets ruined by Tom talking about his dreams within the dream. And then, although, Jay-Z showing up in that is not Tom's fault. Tom warned Granddad that Jay-Z would be upset about.
Go to stuff.
So I love how it always happens like that in this show, that they'll have this like daydream and it gets ruined by somebody else. Like Riley's will get ruined by Granddad. And, it's just so like my daydreams don't get ruined by shit that is going on in my real life. Like I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, that takes the foot out of daydreaming.
Yeah.
Foot out of it.
Right. Yeah. So Huey starts talking about all of the different attempts at having a babysitter. The young girl who wanted to play, and then Riley pulled out the gun and during Cops and Robbers as he was the robber. The one that Granddad was so stingy that he shooed away, which had the boys like all in their suits and shit when Granddad got home, but because she talked on the phone and left the light on in the kitchen, she had to go. So in my opinion,
running up my bill.
I mean,
I sound definitely like an old black person.
If I had kids like Riley and Huey, though, I would be like, okay, I'm okay with the extra light on.
Right?
Like,
the 5-minute
my house isn't falling apart.
Yeah.
And then the guy from the positive positive black brothers
and sisters. Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, yeah. Who's like shaking and crying in the corner when Granddad gets home.
And they're just playing video games. Like,
at that point.
Playing video games, like they don't even know that he's over. And he looked all ragtag, like he had been on an island. Like his clothes were all torn and like just yeah. That was I mean, I would have done it many times. Like probably after the first girl, I probably wouldn't have invested any more money in getting them a babysitter. If it were me, it would have been Uncle Ruckus, and if not, then y'all just go work for yourselves.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute because that's all about Ruckus. So the Granddad tells everybody he's leaving on his trip. He basically is, telling him that they're just, little assholes and he might never come back. And he tells them not to snitch on him and tell Tom that he left because he's going to sneak out without telling him. The boys are like, how are we going to eat? And he's like, there's money above the stove. And like, oh, well, who's going to take care of us? And then Ruckus shows up.
Okay, first of all, ain't nobody talking while I'm talking, so shut the fuck up. My name is Uncle Ruckus, and I will be nigger sitting you two until your grandfather returns. Your granddaddy picked me because I am a licensed zoologist. I have studied a variety of wild animals, and the African male is by far the most savagely cunning. This is an opportunity to observe you niggers in your natural habitat and collect data. But be warned, whatever nigger trickery you got up your sleeves does not affect me.
Okay. So a couple weeks back, we had a white people question that MJ was not a part of. Well, wait, which ones? MJ, were you there for the tail question?
No.
That was Demond. Okay, so there was the tail, where's your tail? And then there was the, do black people have an extra muscle in their leg? That was another white people question that TikTok gave us. And all of that, like, really, like, that part that Ruckus was saying, I have a degree in zoology and I'm going to, fix you monkeys, basically, is what he's saying. And it comes down to seeing especially black youth as animals. And I really wanted, like, for me, that was the point of that. Like, we just talked about that.
That's good. Yeah, like, I feel like at this point, into the second season, we're almost into the third. A lot of what Uncle Ruckus says, it's like, oh, that's Uncle Ruckus, but every time he says something, it's layers into it. And you can definitely break it down to see like, okay, well, that's still current thought. It may not be said that way, but it's definitely, it's notion and the idea is definitely put out there. And yeah, it's sad because I think that's exactly how, many of these racists, think. And it's out of fear because they don't know. Well, no, they do know. They know that I was actually going to say something that probably would have been very, very controversial. I'm not going to say that. Rewind. We do know that we have probably the deepest and most prevalent history when the earth, where the earth is concerned, but we're also the ones where our history is the most cloaked in lies and, covered up. So I think that's where the fear kind of comes from.
Anyway, so we are at the airport with Robert waiting in a huge line for the TSA where they ask for his boarding pass and his ID, which he shows to them, and they moves on to the next TSA agent who asks for his boarding pass and ID. And of course, Granddad has to then engage in an argument with the TSA woman. Now, my lovely brain that knows that there is some comedy sketch out there that did something with two black TSA agents who were women. And I cannot remember. I don't think it was, there was one with In Living Color, but it's not the one I was trying to think of. And
you're not thinking of Soul Plane, right?
But what was that?
You're not thinking, because when I think of it, Soul Plane, and it's Monique and
that might be it. Shit.
The chick from that's on the reel right now.
Oh, no, I gotta look this up.
Yeah, it was Monique and then no, it was
yes, that is the fucking scene I was trying to think of. Okay, thank you so goddamn much. Okay, so
psychic. See, I was feeling you. I knew you were yeah,
I thought right. Maybe one of you guys would get it because I was like, it was two black women TSA agents, and they were giving the guy a hard time, and so
they were giving him more than a hard time.
Oh yes,
they took
definitely.
him in the back to that one was funny because he is a good chocolate piece right there. But yeah, they were that definitely reminded me of that, and I'm sure that's probably what it was based upon. There's a little bit of that scene.
I think so because I mean it rang so goddamn hard in my head that I probably spent 30 minutes trying to find like scrolling through TSA sketch because I knew it wasn't like a whole thing, that it was just like a scene really, but sometimes I hate being autistic because I get stuck on stuff like that and then I have to go and figure it out.
Hey, I'm the same way. I might want to tell you what we did for 6 hours the other night. I was like, I know that scene exists. And yeah, let's just say I was looking for a scene for 6 hours.
All right.
Onto Google and other websites the other night. Still haven't found it.
Yep.
I swear we did not make this. I swear. Oh my God.
That happens to me with books from my childhood or like short stories.
Yeah. Yeah. This was something a little more adult. But yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. So that is very telling. That's what I thought of when I saw it too. But it was a great, just kind of like little bit of commentary on flying after 9/11 and how our country changed and how it was like, let's be extra cautious to those who we can visibly see we don't really need to be cautious about.
Yep.
Grandpa was not pleased. He was not
one
of the
ones. A grumpy old man who just wanted to get through.
Yeah, he didn't have a bomb in his shoes or anything else that was going on. Like he was just trying to get to his vacation.
Yeah.
So I think that was just very telling piece on it.
I swear though, there's an episode where Granddad works for the TSA. I swear this is a thing. I don't remember it well, but this is an episode of the show. I know it.
What?
Hey,
okay.
I promise you.
I'm not gonna deny it.
I've only watched the whole series once. So.
I was young when it was on, but that I remember.
Do you mean the actor or actually in this show?
Granddad, the character, starts working at the airport. I think for the TSA because he's like an asshole and they're like, oh, you're perfect for the TSA or some shit like that. I swear.
It sounds like that could be true.
It could be, yeah. And you know what? It looks like there's, without being able to actually look at it, there looks like there's something on season 4 that's about the airport. So I'll have to check that out later. That's probably what you're talking about.
I believe it. If not, then it's one of those other situations where you're just, our mind is very strong and powerful.
Right? That's why I was like, maybe it was John Witherspoon. Because that's what my brain would do. Oh, did you figure it out?
Yeah, it's season 4. It's the Breaking Granddad episode. Where
nice job.
So, where they kind of do the homage to Breaking Bad. But yeah, he ends up
okay.
he ends up getting a job at the airport or filling out an application.
There you
anyway.
go.
All right, cool.
Look at you. Look at that.
Right. All right.
It worked. Guys. It worked together. It does.
Twice now. Okay, so we're back at the house, and Ruckus is still telling them all about the rules. He's talking about cattle prod and the electric dog collar and calling it a lynch mob. And the boys are just sitting there looking at him and looking at each other. Then we're back with Robert, who is exhausted, finally getting to the hotel, talking about all the being Mr. Bitches and ready to party, but he's so tired that he literally just walks in and passes out on the bed. Then the boys are gearing up with all of their arsenal. Holy shit, they've got a lot of BB guns.
A lot.
All different kinds.
Their arsenal's much bigger than mine.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was watching that scene going, I hope they don't play outside with those things. Like, that literally was what was going through my head. It wasn't anything about, shooting each other. It was, oh God, don't go outside with those if you're a real person.
Here's the thing. Oh no, the babies. No, I got you. They were, I mean, with everything going on, especially right now, and like Florida being a main location where somebody is shot and it's a child doing something or somebody, a very young age, pretty much on the daily, I will say that it did kind of like elicit the thoughts of that, like seeing the young kids with the arsenal of guns and then whatnot, but then going, oh, they're BB guns, and then going, oh, get Uncle Ruckus, definitely shoot him between the eyeballs.
Right, which is absolutely like what's about to happen. They're about to shoot Uncle Ruckus, but like, of course, that was, 15 years ago before what happened to Tamir Rice. Thank you, Dean. I almost said Trayvon Martin, but that too, but it was Tamir Rice with the BB gun.
Yeah.
And, there was, I wish I could remember it. There was a man who was holding a toy gun in Walmart that got shot. Do you remember that one?
I can't remember.
Yeah. So like, it's fucked up that my first instinct when I saw that scene wasn't, wow, look at all those are cool. It was, oh shit, little black boys with guns that look real.
Mm-hmm.
That's
an
unfortunate change in, like, seeing this episode 15 years ago. That would have not been the first thing that I thought of.
Not at all.
So,
which is sad, and it has a lot to say about the times that we live in.
So the house becomes a huge mess. There are pellet holes everywhere, glass is broken, everything's ripped. Huey tells Riley to clean it up. Riley doesn't think Huey should be in charge. Then Tom shows up looking for Robert, but Huey covers for him, basically like, he's at the store.
Mr. Dubois.
Mr. Dubois.
Mr. Dubois.
But it's very very low voice, very almost monotone. Like he's like,
it took the taxi, Mr. Dubois. It was Mr. Dubois.
Yep. And I mean, Huey's he's doing what Granddad said. He didn't say he would do it convincingly. So so Huey notices that they're low on groceries, decides he's going to go shopping, but when he goes to check the money, it's gone. Riley then comes into the room with all of his new swag, his new hat and shirt and shoes and shit. And Huey gets so pissed off and ruins the collar on his shirt and just, telling Riley that now they don't have any money for food. And Riley blames Huey because Huey's in charge. And actually, I wrote in the corner, Riley wasting the food money on clothes and then telling Huey he was in charge, so he should have done something is peak asshole. Yeah. Well, you were in charge, so now you got to feed us. And sorry, no sorry whatsoever.
And he knew that the money was for food.
And he didn't care. Right. It was all about his needs first.
Yeah, you'd be mad on another nigga because of his swag. Like, what? Like, how? Yeah. Very, very Riley.
Very. Does not think of other people at all. Doesn't even really think about his future self. Just thinks about
That's
the
what I was
moment.
going to say. Like, you have to eat too.
Right?
You understand that, right? Like, it wasn't just he would have to eat, but he didn't care. He wanted to be dripping.
Right.
He wanted to have his swag. He had his black clothes or whatever. His black gear is what he said. I'm trying to think back to, the lingo from 2004.
And glistening and shining.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. Dipped in butter. I forgot about that. Huey tells Riley that he's grounded. Riley's like, it's bullshit. I'm just gonna leave. Huey kicks his ass. So Riley goes looking for his guns and finds out that Huey has confiscated them for security reasons. I used the like, the 2-finger thing again that you can't see. Riley tells Huey that he'll have to shoot him. Riley tells Huey that he'll have to shoot him. And so Huey does. So then we're back with Granddad. Then we're back at Granddad at the bar. Then he finds out how much Cristal actually costs. He's getting bumped into left and right. Someone spills his drink on his nice white suit. He's just generally having a shitty time because that's not actually his scene anymore. So then
at a Club Med.
Right. Like, so I keep thinking, when I was like 25, that would have been a great vacation. Go down to Costa Rica, dance with all the ladies, get drunk, have fun. And now I'm like, I'm 42. Do you know what I want to do on vacation? I want to sit somewhere where it's really quiet and all I see is water and there's nobody around me.
Right? Solitude. Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be solitude, like a few choice people, but just like no outside people.
Yeah. And he went there and first of all, he had to really educate himself. Really, the ladies are going to come because you're paying for them. Especially down there. Like, it's not just, a black man, an American, let's go. Well, and they're saying that because they're like, let's go get in his pocket.
Yeah, he assumed that his money would go a lot farther in Costa Rica because he just assumed that, the exchange rate, it's got to be, if I've got American money, that's the best money ever, which is very much the idea of a lot of tourists, especially, I love that I'm about to say this, especially white tourists going into brown countries. And just expecting that because it's a brown country, it's, the white money from America is going to be better.
And it's not.
I thought it was interesting.
It's not that powerful. Yeah.
And back then it wasn't powerful. Now I don't even know. Dean's actually looking it up right now. Are you looking up what it was then or just right now?
$1 is 618 Costa Rica alone.
But how much does it cost for stuff? Like, $1 might be 600 and something of their thing, but it might cost $1,000 for a glass of water or something, or 1,000, whatever the. But anyway, let's see, where was I? Tom shows up back at the house. Huey covers for him again. Tom's starting to get suspicious and upset. Back to Robert sitting alone at his booth, listening to the other people have a good time. Basically, the same things that he was imagining in his daydream are happening around him as he's sitting alone in the club.
Other people are saying everything I was going to say,
right down to the Mr. Bitches coming out somewhere from someone out there. So back to Riley and Huey. Riley tries to leave the house out of using a sheet out the window, but Huey sets the sheet on fire. Then he puts bars on all the windows and forcibly restrains Riley by wrapping him in duct tape. Or at least his arms. Huey makes him don an orange jumpsuit, makes Riley clean. He has to ration the food. Like, it's a total prison warden scene.
Yes. Yeah. And like the worst kind of prison warden. Like, he has to watch him. He can't go to sleep. Riley's still trying to escape. It's it turns into hell, for both of them.
Yeah, Huey just wants everything to be like normal and okay and just like chill and like stop being an asshole and let's just try to get through this next time. Whereas Riley's like, fuck you, you can't control me and can't see anything other than Huey trying to control him.
Yeah. And freedom. That's all he wants. He wants his amount of freedom. Yeah.
He wants to be able to do whatever he wants to do without caring that other people care. Which is just Riley in a nutshell and one of the reasons he pisses me off so much. Like, Riley is one of those kids that make me thankful that I'm a special ed teacher and that kid is not in special ed, because I love the kids that I work with and they are some of the hardest kids that you would ever work with. But Riley is just so fucking spoiled rotten. And he's got some trauma there. Smart, he's got some major trauma, but he's
also super smart.
He's so smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had a kid like Riley in my class, it would be very tough for me to like him. I'll be honest. And I like every kid that has come through my classroom. There's only been one kid ever that I was like, oh, I fucking hate that kid. That was my student teaching.
Look, I'm telling you, a couple of the kids are in my son's baseball team. You would have been
that would be kids that are not kids in my classroom. All of them I don't like. I mean, there are a few who know me because I was like, I taught them summer school or just because they've seen me around and they're adorable. But, I know most of their names, but like I teach a small class, so I don't have to worry about the 30 kids every year and all that. Like I actually get to make real relationships with these grumpy, angry, juveniles. But anyway, no more of that, actually. That's another week and a half and I will no longer be a teacher, which is fucking weird. But
you're pursuing your passion and purpose.
Yeah, I'm really happy about what I'm doing. It's gonna be worth it. It'll be good for my mental health. It'll be doing the things that I loved about teaching without having to do the parts I hated about teaching.
Yeah. Yep.
So, where was I? I actually did lose my place for real. There we go. Granddad, back with Granddad.
Yeah.
So Granddad's laying on his bed, listening to all the fun outside. That's when I think the Mr. Bitches comes out. It's when he's laying in his hotel room. Huey starts rationing the food. They really begin to hate each other. Like Huey full on is like, yeah, that was when I started hating him. Mm-hmm. Then it flashes back to Granddad clipping his toenails. Like Granddad is just so fucking bored. He's clipping his toenails on vacation. Then Huey watches Riley as Riley is going to sleep. Huey is talking about not being able to sleep because he knows as soon as he does, Riley is going to try and get out of there. Mm-hmm. And you got Granddad doing crossword puzzles. Then you got Huey starting to fall asleep. Then Riley wakes up, making Huey wake up. And Riley's trying to chew through the duct tape. Then back to Granddad. He's passed out asleep at 6:21 p.m.
Not too. Like, really, everything. Just, I'm done for the day.
Yep. I can't figure out how to fill my time because I'm not having any fun. So I'm just going to go to sleep because that'll at least pass the time.
Yep.
I've absolutely been there. So then the next scene, while the boys are eating, Granddad calls.
Hello?
Hey, boy!
Hey, Granddad. How's the trip? You ready to come home?
Are you kidding? I'm having a great time. Woo! Hey, little girl, stop tickling me. Talking to my grandson. Doing it big. So how's the house?
Great. We're fine. No problems.
Okay. Guess there's no need of me rushing home early or anything, huh? Which is great for me because I'm doing it big. So what's new? What you mad at this week?
Hey, Granddad, I gotta go.
So neither party wants to admit that they need the other person between Huey and Granddad, even though both of them are completely miserable and wish that the other one knew that already. And that's also while that scene is happening, Riley's chewing through his duct tape and he gets away. I did think that there was at the very end of the call, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this clip, at the very end of the call, Granddad's actually trying to engage Huey in conversation. I miss you, boy. Tell me something. Tell me what you're mad at now. I just want to talk to you because, but of course, they don't have the time for that because Huey has to deal with the fact that Riley's just run away. But it's, I feel like in this episode, one of the things that we are seeing is Granddad starting to actually appreciate the boys a little bit and the boys actually starting to appreciate Granddad a little bit. I think Huey already did, but, not as much as he should have. And Riley didn't care at all until the end, really. Huey
definitely understood, why Granddad left.
Yes.
I think, why he needs the vacation. So he wanted to make it work.
But Huey completely thought it was Riley. Huey didn't see his own part in the problem.
Yeah.
So, so he chases after Riley, puts new duct tape on him and throws him in the closet. Tom shows up. This time he's pissed off because he's 99% sure that Granddad is actually, gone on this trip without him. Again, Huey covers for Granddad. Then he goes to get Riley from the closet, only to find out that he's escaped, and realizes that Riley also has gotten to his guns. And then a big gunfight ensues, ending with a standoff where they both shoot each other in the head and fall to the floor. At that time, Granddad is coming home. And as soon as he gets out of the cab, there's Tom, who is just angry and crying and so upset because he thinks that, nobody likes him and why can't he be cool like everybody and be included in the cool things? But Robert lies to him again and says, no, he didn't go to Costa Rica. He wouldn't have gone to Costa Rica in 2 days and then come home. So all of this has happened in just 2 days. And that they would plan a trip another time, which Tom is totally happy and just walks off and it's like, okay. Oh, but there's some joke emails. Just go ahead and ignore them.
Don't pay attention.
Pay no attention to the clingy ex-girlfriend phone calls that you're about to get.
Yeah, seriously.
So then Granddad opens the door and sees the boys laying on the ground. They are so happy to see each other. Everyone just kind of forgets. Granddad looks around the house that looks trashed and is like, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And the boys are like, oh, fucking thank God. Maybe we should clean up.
Yeah.
And so they do.
And then that lets you know how happy he was just to be back. Like how
Riley willingly cleaning because, oh shit, he's not mad at us for all of this. Why don't we need to do something about it before he actually realizes that he is mad at us?
Yeah. Before his vision corrects itself.
Right. Or his mood changes or whatever. Like Huey and Riley are just really excited that it was only a couple days and that Granddad came home because like Huey's mind, I'm pretty sure Huey's like, we're going to die here. That's what's going to happen. And Riley's like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you. So yeah, they probably would have. And then, the show closes with Granddad listening to his 22 voicemails. One from Ruckus, talking about how terrible the boys are and how they're devils. And the rest, we slowly hear Tom going from, let's talk about this, bro. Like, hey, what's up? It's me, to, why are you doing this? And like full on crazy girlfriend.
I mean, it's crazy. And like, didn't he start crying in one?
Yep, at least one. So that was the end of the episode. So big thing for me in this episode, I've had trouble for a while liking Riley. This episode just really made me want to just what's it that Chris Rock says? I'll never hit, but I'll shake the shit out of him. Like that's I feel that way about Riley.
Yeah, I want to whoop his ass. Like seriously, like want to like, you know what, a good little ass whooping. Where they go to sleep after. I don't know if you guys ever had those good whoopings when they used to just go like you would be knocked out after. That's what he needed. That's exactly what he needed. And then everything would have been okay. But I guess it was very hard to see the humor. Like there was no funny, Riley moment like there is every other time. Like he's being a shit and he says something that's funny. There wasn't. It was just plain you're being a little shit.
Not thinking about anybody but yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep, that's clearly what this episode was. That's all it was to me, honestly. So
that was a big part of it to me. Like Huey turning into a warden, which I'm sure in Huey's mind is probably one of the worst things that could have happened. Like I saw Huey going like it was like what was the psychological study where they I think it was Stanford, where they had some students playing jailers and some playing the jailed, and how quickly that devolved. It's the exact same thing here. That it went from it's us against Ruckus.
Together.
Yeah. It was like us
and
against Ruckus, and then it became us against each other. And yeah.
And that study was crazy. I remember watching that and I was like, wow, like you saw it happening. You very clearly saw it happening. They couldn't do that nowadays because people don't have any restraint.
Nope.
They don't, I'm saying it would go bad. I mean, I think 60 Days In, which is a show on A&E. I think it's kind of similar to that. They put somebody in there to act as if they're an inmate, but they're not. I don't know who the hell would, who would be like, let me do that.
Wait, somebody choosing to go to jail for 60 days?
Yeah.
What the
Like
fuck?
I stumbled upon a clip on YouTube and ended up just getting sucked into it. I was like, wait a minute. So this guy really isn't like a inmate, but just, I'm pretty sure that's kind of what the
that just stinks
idea
of
the
privilege. Like,
Yeah,
ooh, this is exciting. I'm going to go spend 60 days in jail and then win $1 million.
And I would think they do that. I think it's really more of like a let's see if I can do it type of, let me get an insight of what the other world is like.
Okay.
Now anybody can correct me that watches it out there. That's in, that I'm, if I'm not, stating it or getting it correctly, I have way too many shows that I watch right now, so it was not in my lineup of things to go back and look into. But the clip that I saw, that's what it was very indicative of. That's what I got from it. So I know I wouldn't do that shit, especially not in today's America.
Hell no.
No, not at all.
I think it's interesting, though, that we bring up the Stanford prison experiment, because I think that's how Riley viewed the situation.
Mhm.
Like I talked on this potty about, I am the youngest of my first cousins. Like most of them were in their 50s, 40s when I was like 10, 13. So a lot of my second cousins were my big cousins. And when our parents were away, right? So you might say, oh, MJ, you're the boss. And meanwhile, my little 11-year-old ass is looking at 13-year-old MJ like, oh, MJ's the boss? Okay, because it's the same thing like with the Stanford experiment, right? We're all students. You just have the title of guard and you're going to run with that power. And my 11-year-old ass is looking at your 13-year-old ass like, yo, we got freedom from our strict ass parents. What are you doing? Why are you tripping?
Mm-hmm.
And then like a lot of resentment would get going. Like this episode was very nostalgic to me. Riley and Huey reminded me so much of my brother and my cousin Jovan. Like it was just insane. Like they used to go on the street, fight with BB guns, fight with nunchucks, all this kind of crazy stuff. And then my one cousin, Nichelle, was always the guard. Like she was always like, sit your ass down. Like, no, you're not doing that. No, you can't play Nintendo. And we would just like try to, what's the word? Not subvert, undermine her power basically, because it's like, you're a kid like me. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was just very nostalgic to me.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Like, I really think both of those characters fit into their respective roles exactly as it would have happened if they were kids. Like the older brother thinking, well, now I have to be in charge because we scared away the babysitter. So now if you're doing stupid shit, I need to make sure that you don't kill your fucking self. And, at the same time, Riley's like, woo, no grown-ups. Let's go ballin'. Let's go have fun. Let's, do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, Huey's got that voice in the back of his head that's like, you need to keep this kid alive for the next 2 weeks. so he doesn't get any of the joy of not having an adult around. He becomes the adult.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I just think from Riley's perspective, it's like, yo, like you said, it was you and me versus Uncle Ruckus yesterday. What happened to you, bro?
Yep.
I get Huey though, of course, but.
And this was all over 2 days, which was so funny.
Right. And I love that the episode does not let you know that that's over 2 days. Like it feels like Granddad's been there for a while.
Yeah.
And that all of this stuff just keeps happening and happening. And oh no, it's only actually been, 2 days. All right.
And he spent more time traveling than he did there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is true. All right. Do we have anything else we want to say about this episode before we move into our thing?
No, I don't. Surprisingly, I have nothing else to say.
I think it's been a great conversation so far, though.
Yeah, I agree. It feels good to be back. My boys are just walking. I walked outside to go to the restroom really quick, and they're like pacing back and forth because we're going to see Mortal Kombat at the drive-ins.
Oh,
so they're like, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? You done yet?"
Oh well, we are almost done. Let's go ahead and on that note, do the thing.
Welcome to Stupid White People Questions.
You mean I'm gonna stay this color?
You do that too well.
I'm gonna stay this color. Yeah.
You might have had that.
I've seen that movie a time or two, or 1,000.
Probably more like 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it a time or two.
I mean, I saw that movie when it came out, and then as soon as it was available to be watched again and again and again, I watched it again and again and again. So yes, one of my favorite movies, and I think it still holds up today.
I would actually agree, and not very many movies from that era that dealt with race do hold up over time. Like this makes fun of the idea of race, and now people are like, yeah, sure, okay, he's part of the family, even though he's a white boy, but he's a little crazy, but we love him.
Yeah, he can't dance or anything like that, but we love him. We love our little Naven. But anyway, so today's white people question is from @_ Tommy Nara, Nara. His real name Ryan Thompson on TikTok. He says, I got a neck tattoo and my white roommate said, aren't you afraid that makes you look like a certain type of black guy? My response was, yeah, the type of black guy who needs a new roommate. So
that's a good answer.
Like seriously, 1000%. What kind of black? Like what kind? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, have you ever been questioned about, well, I mean, because
especially tattoos. I have a lot of tattoos.
I have tattoos. You have to, I mean, yeah. And so, I mean, of course we always get, well, what's that going to be when you're older? And well, but as far as race and tattoos is concerned, have you ever had that?
No. I don't think so. I mean, and if I have, it's been more from like family that has said like my piercings. I'm pierced in several places. And it's like, oh, that's a white person thing. Is it? Or is it just somebody that really likes art? You know, like, and just like my body's art. Like my tattoo, I have a huge back tattoo that is off of a sculpture called Submissive Heart. You know, my mom was like, oh, you have people fucking on your back. And I was like, yep, that's completely what I do.
That's so you. Know? That's so perfectly you.
I was just like, Ma, who did you raise? Like, no, it is not, you know, but so it's definitely certain immediate ideas that I've gotten from my family, but never from, you know, anybody saying anything like directly race related, like this guy, you know.
When
it's weird.
When I first started getting tattoos, my dad reacted like that. Not so much like that, but that tattoos would somehow make me the wrong kind of person. And like, honestly, there was no way that he could deny that I had them as I got older because they're a lot more showing than when I was younger. But when I was in my 20s and when I actually had disposable income and was getting a lot of tattoos, we had a don't ask, don't tell policy because he did not want to believe that his daughter was that kind of person that would get covered in tattoos. And, you know, I know that was from his era.
Yeah.
So that could be like the background of that, like somehow that idea was implanted in whoever this human was.
Well,
I think it's also part right now, especially in hip hop. Everyone is getting face tattoos and things like that.
Yeah.
All the gangbangers are getting face tattoos.
It's
So
true.
the thing is, that's not going to be able to make you eligible for a job in the future. But that has nothing to do with if you're black or not.
Right.
White people, they get the face tattoos. They're not going to be good for a job in the future. The Mexican dudes that's walking around with the head tattoos and everything, they're not going to be good for a job in the future. So it's not a black or white thing. That's just a bad choice thing for artwork.
That's your Portland.
Or probably Austin.
But here's the thing. I mean, as far as race is concerned, white folks were probably one of the last folks to get piercings and or tattoos. I mean, it's not like we led the way in that. So
and yet still most of the tattoo
probably
artists
were the first ones to get face tattoos.
Probably.
Especially when white people do face tattoos and stuff like that, especially prison face tattoos way before this new last 5 years or 6 years when Lil Wayne started tattooing his face, and now everybody wants to get a face tattoo. Like original hip hop, Snoop, Dre, like that's one of that.
Mike Tyson, he's the first one that I can remember, celebrity wise, getting a face tattoo.
And
we
that's
all
huge.
thought he was crazy.
But I'm talking about historically. I mean, so I mean, like Vikings, yes, they had that, but
So one of the things that I was going to say is it's funny. It's really interesting to me that a lot of indigenous and African cultures have tattooing in their long storied histories. But in this day and age, it is really difficult to find tattoo artists who know how to tattoo on brown and black skin and know what colors are going to look good and know how to shade so that it complements. And Like that's been I have never gotten tattooed by a Black person, and it's actually like I am really upset about that because I have personally never met a Black tattoo artist, and that bothers
I've
me.
only seen them on was it the Ink Masters?
Yeah.
Like we saw a couple on there, and we were just talking about that because I just found out that who I thought was going to be our artist for life is moving to Texas, and so either I'm going to be spending a lot of money on airfare and then paying him to do my tattoo, or we need to find someone here. And I just expressed that to hubby. I said I would love to find a Black person. I would love to find somebody that would be like my tattoo artist now. He's fire. He's like, look, I could do color, but it's not going to last. And I want whatever you have on your body to last. Like, very honest. I love him and his work, but I would like to find somebody that was maybe connected to an art and a talent that we've had for eons, but that we just don't tap into anymore. Like I've never met anybody that wouldn't be considered and this is just whatever, a gothy type of Black person that would do like, you know what I'm saying? Like that
absolutely.
Like
the kind of Black person I never saw growing up, and so I always thought that I didn't belong in the goth scene.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and they're there. They're there.
But
I would like to find somebody
not in Seattle.
Somebody who's just an artist, who said I love drawing, and then I fell into becoming a tattoo artist. I would love to be able to find one. So it's funny that you just mentioned that, and I think it's something that it's another piece of our history that we should tap into, because if you look back and look into Kemet and you look into other ancient I don't want to say tribes, but just parts of ancient African history, we were getting piercings, like Dean said. We were getting tattoos, like
stretching ears, stretching lips, stretching necks. Those were all very common things. Nose piercings, all kinds of nose piercings and lip piercings were very common.
Stretching the ears, and everything.
To put a slightly different spin on the Black skin and color and things like that, to make it a bit more mainstream is, and I think we were just recently talking about this, is lighting Black skin for film.
Oh yeah,
how
big time,
how poorly it's done.
How rare you find somebody who actually knows how to do it well.
Yeah,
especially in big money fucking movies that they don't know how to light somebody who's a little bit darker than everybody else.
Right.
Like, what were we just talking about that in? Oh my God, it was a movie. We were like, well, the problem with that is, we were watching another content creator, and they were saying the problem with was it Baby Boy? It was another movie. They were saying like the movie, what adds to the movie is the poor lighting and the fact that there aren't people in Hollywood, and that leads to the whole like behind the camera, even in front of the camera, behind the camera, we don't have enough talent that would be able to help. Like you said, lighting or sound or anything.
I mean, you do. They just don't get hired.
True.
I mean, I've got people like who are like us. Which if you look at us and Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke,
I was like,
what? And how well, I mean, because a lot of that was dark.
Yes.
But they lit it really well. And Lupita is dark. I mean, so
she's the kind of dark that I thought was so gorgeous when I was a kid, but could never say that out loud because the lighter the skin was better when I was growing up.
Oh my God.
And she rocks it. She's beautiful.
But I mean, and also in Black, they did a great job. Of course, Ryan Coogler, I'm sure brought in his people for Black Panther.
Well, there's a lot of Black creators who are finally starting to get the chance, and when they're getting their chance, they're bringing other people with them. Like the whole thing with Jordan Peele and all of this gorgeous, wonderful, amazing Black horror that is coming out. Like when I was growing up, the Black guy in the horror movie died first, and if the Black guy did not die first, the Black guy was probably the guy killing people. And like that was how horror movies were. And I still loved horror movies because I like that weird scare, like not jump scares, but I like the psychological fear.
Yeah, that's why I am. Don't scare me. Like, don't make me pee on myself.
I'm the kind of person that screamed when The Gods Must Be Crazy when the cheetah jumped out. Like
that shocked. Yeah. I haven't watched that in forever.
I'll watch horror movies and I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, much to what you said, Issa Rae, Lena Waithe, like all of them, all these creators now are starting to go like, look, my entire staff, my entire crew, nothing but, Black people.
Yes.
Kev on Stage is a content creator that started just doing videos on like Facebook and YouTube. And now he was with All Deaf Digital, and now he's grown into his own platform. Everybody that he uses for everything that they do, production, Black.
Nice.
Cameraman, direct, like everybody. So it's
Yeah.
Tyler Perry. Yeah, Tyler Perry's another one. I mean, look at him. He
But,
opened his own studio.
Yeah.
Like it's
Tyler Perry, like he took the idea that Eddie Murphy had and ran
Years
with it
ago.
so
Yeah.
hard and has given so many amazing Black actors a second chance. Like, what's her name? I'll look at it later. But like so many Black actors that we didn't see for a while, especially like the older women.
Yeah.
They are back and they are big on TV and they were beautiful and it's amazing. And I don't watch that kind of show because I don't like the soap opera kind of shows but that's fine. But I really can still appreciate how Afrocentric it is.
Yeah. Well, look at Netflix. Look at even Hulu. Like these streaming services are providing opportunities for these shows and these stories to be told. And that's what's amazing. I mean, that was just the very first child kind of a superhero kind of story on Netflix. It was a Black kid, a Black mom, like her finding out that her kid has like that. That's amazing.
Yes,
that's
something
amazing.
Donovan. Something. No, that's not right. Saving
something. Yeah, my boys watched it. I mean, there's so much on Netflix.
I saw that
Good
one.
Lord, it gives me kind of a headache. Sometimes
I watched
if I don't know
all
what
of
I want to
Netflix
watch.
during the pandemic. I watched all of Netflix.
Oh yeah, right. Like, and that's probably why I don't watch it anymore because I've watched all of it. You guys can't add anymore. But
one of the things I was going to say is film schools, because that's I mean that's where everybody goes. I mean like Full Sail and all those other ones that where that they need to be able to teach that. They need to hire Black directors, cinematographers, etc., because people need to learn this.
They have to tell the history of Black cinema.
Yeah.
There are stories to be told there, and it can't just be recent. It can't just start with Keenen Ivory Wayans and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker and Robert Townsend, and it can't just start there. Although that's recently where it started, but
the other part too, though, is every Black story doesn't have to be a sob story. Or it doesn't have to be
make every movie a Precious or something like that. Like that.
Every movie does not have to be this Black boy is going to go out and die and then his community is going to rally. No, we don't need any more of those. I need 2 gay Black boys falling in love. I need a Black woman as president of the United States. I need Black people to not be in subservient, sad, depressed roles just for the sake of moving along the story of the white person.
And not just Morgan Freeman.
And not just Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Oh God, please. Or what I would love to see is like a This Is 40. Do you guys remember that movie? Judd Apatow movie. And it was with Leslie Mann and somebody else, but it was
like a mainstream comedy though. That's what you're talking about, right?
It was like a rom-com. Yeah. It was a comedy because Judd Apatow's a more of a comedic writer, I would think.
Yep.
But it was probably his first jaunt into more of a dramedy. Okay. But it just definitely told the story of a couple and how you get into the whole hum of every day and like turning 40 and like just what you deal with, from being 20 and screwing like rabbits and like living off of top ramen to having a mortgage and having children and everything else. Like I would love to see that, to be able to show that like
normalized. You would like to see the mundane.
It ends up in, I would love to see stories about alternative marriages and maybe alternative lifestyles within that marriage.
I would love to see alternative lifestyles, period, on screen.
Like I love to see a Breakfast Club, with a diverse cast. I would, not just like a fucking
Princess Bride.
Let me see a goddamn Black goth kid on TV. Like that, I'm gonna go back to that over and over again. Growing up in Seattle as a goth kid, as a kid into alternative music, which was very popular in Seattle in the 90s, I was a Black kid into it, and so therefore it was not a normal thing.
No, I get you. That would be an awesome story to tell. Yeah. But like we're not a model. We said we're not a monolith, so let's just tell stories.
Let's not tell the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, there's a Black creator on TikTok who does recasting, fan casting of movies that he says would make racists mad. And
I love that guy.
He does some great stuff. And probably my favorite one that he did was Princess Bride. So that was a good one.
Oh, send me that one too. You are on this TikTok. I thought I was on it.
He's obsessed.
But you're finding really good creators.
Yes.
You're finding the thing that would keep me interested, because what I stopped doing is because I didn't want to do a dance.
Oh,
You know,
no.
I didn't want.
I didn't even
wanna do a
join because
silhouette
I thought
challenge.
that's all it was.
Oh no, yeah, that's.
didn't
Yeah,
wanna
I
do the
mean, we've
silhouette
got over
challenge.
500 followers now. So
Hello.
Wow.
Hello.
Well, look at that.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
Ma-
So
making
we need to
making
come
some
up with an
friends.
agreement. Yeah, we need to come up with an agreement on what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
For ours. Like I know you
One of
want
these
us to
days
do
we'll actually talk
little something.
not on show night.
yeah, I mean, yeah. If there's any scenes from the show that you want me to get the sounds for, that you guys want to do the lip syncs to for the show, like somebody wants to be Riley, somebody wants to be Huey, whatever.
Yeah.
I could be Mr. Onceler.
We could do it.
Or Ed
Yeah.
the Third.
I could be Ed the Third or
The thing
Jen
that pops
Rummy.
into my head the most, which is probably not good, is when a pimp named Slipback.
A pimp.
And then all his bevy of women come
There you
along.
go.
Like I feel like I don't know why that always pops into
Sweetest
my head.
taboo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know,
I'm into it.
that's right. So yeah.
But yeah,
But-
I definitely do want each of you guys to like make, less than a minute or less video, introducing yourselves and, talk, whatever you want to say.
I'm going to be honest. I'll get to it once we've moved.
Well, yeah.
All
It
of
doesn't
my
have-
free time is either sitting on the couch going, okay, I need to pack, or I'm packing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have
And
to
my
happen
thing
tomorrow,
is,
but
this last class that I took a leave because I did not want to finish it. And now I'm taking it again. So
That's good. I'm starting over
I've
at
been
class
working
two
on
because life.
our TikTok that I've been wanting to introduce us for easily 2 months now. I could show you my phone. I have like pieces of it to come together. So yeah, we'll get on that, producer. So
hell yeah.
All right. Any
But yeah.
final thoughts today before we close for the day?
No, I'll say to that guy, move out. Like,
Right?
right.
Just like I said, yeah, and the black guy who needs a new roommate. So
Yeah. And tell him I said fuck you. Here we go.
Well, see, I definitely want to talk about types of Black people
Yeah,
because I don't know about y'all, but I've had these conversations with white people and I've had these conversations with Black people more than with white people.
Black
With
people
white
thinking,
people,
yep.
it was
Go ahead.
in college, it was mostly mostly white men who I hung out with a lot because it was SUNY Oswego in New York that is mostly white people. And then even coming out of college into our adult years, having my girlfriends get married and all this stuff, I have had several of my always white male friends say to me when they would kind of say something racist and I'd be like, oh, that's kind of fucked up or that's kind of racist. And we'd get into the dialogue and then they would say, yeah, but you're not one of them.
Mhm. Yeah.
The question
Yeah.
was always, I'm not one of who?
Yeah.
Who is them? A nigga? Because I am.
You're not
Right.
like
And
those
then-
Black people. Oh yeah, I've had that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And as I kind of got into corporate is when I started to hear it from a lot of other Black people, men and women, who actually meant it in a mentoring way and especially in these past few years when I've gotten to this degree of saying, like, I can call myself a hood girl, but Black people would not say I'm a hood girl. Like they would say I'm kind of sedity or uppity or whatever. But
You and me both.
they actually, they did this on Mixed Dish a few episodes ago where the Aunt Denise is working in the sister's office and like talking about all the roles she has to play as a Black woman. Like there's the mammy, there's the girlfriend. How was your weekend? Like getting into all these types. And people always told me, like the reason I saw a lot of quote unquote success, I roll because I was not successful in my opinion, in my career was because I'm a safe Black person. In other words, you make white people and, other minorities feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
So you are a safe Black girl, especially you guys, when I'm on calls with clients, I do tend to talk like this and let you know that your SEO campaign is going great. Like that's that code switching that was so in me. And so like, I don't know, I just do find like types of Black people, it is a thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying your white roommate should be categorizing you, though I would love to hear Uncle Ruckus or someone like that do that categorization. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
But
I would love to know his explanation deeper. I love what you said because that is 1000% my experience. Being in customer service, doing sales, it was always like, hi, how are you today? Oh my God, thank you so much. I had a great weekend. So, and it's always that. But what I will say is that somebody asked me recently, doesn't that bother you to have to do that? And I said, it doesn't. And I think it's for Black people, we're okay with having to, I don't want to say assimilate, but having to fit in when it doesn't it's not to our detriment.
We're used to
it's
it.
not to our detriment. Where
Yeah.
you ask another culture, they're gonna lose their goddamn minds. They're
Right.
so fragile, they don't know what to do. But I get if somebody says proper, I used to get proper.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
speak so proper. I used to get that.
Mhm.
But don't get me wrong.
Oh,
you
you're
piss
so
me off.
smart.
Or I'm drinking some brown liquor or doing something.
You're so
Okay.
eloquent.
I've never gotten eloquent because I usually am talking too much. So
Yeah. I get passionate.
I get passionate.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Passionate. I also get called a bitch a lot. Yes.
I'll
For
take it.
Black people, also, it hasn't been so much that you're used to it, but that you're taught to do it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
even for my students, I even have the discussion with them. I might say nigga with my friends and my fraternity brothers and stuff like that. But when I'm at work, with my coworkers, stuff like that, it's never going to come out that way
Mhm.
because I don't want them to think that it's okay. So you're literally, even my boys, I tell them, all right, it's fine if you do that, but you got to understand that when you get in this situation, I still need you to present yourself in a certain way so nobody's looking at you in a different way. So Black people are literally taught from a young age that you have to act a certain way in normal America than how you
Mhm.
normally act at home or around your family and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I've kind of done that on a small scale with my classroom because a lot of the kids that I work with, swearing is just part of their vocabulary.
mhm.
And so I basically teach them that code switching means when you are in a safe space where it's okay to act however you want to and say whatever you want to, like when you're with your friends, that's a different thing than when you are in front of your 5th grade math teacher. Like you're not going to
Yeah.
talk to her in the same
Yeah.
way. And this language that belongs in the casual setting. I try not to make it a race thing. I try to make it casual versus professional. And when you
I
are
use the
with
old
your
thing
teacher,
that, like our grandparents used to say, if you use curse words, it's because you aren't intelligent enough to have a larger vocabulary.
which I
for
absolutely do
me-
not believe is true.
I don't either because I say fuck and everything else like crazy.
Right?
I have a great vocabulary. But for kids, I hate to hear kids say nigga. I hate to be at the
Mhm.
7-Eleven and they're cussing because you do sound ignorant because you haven't gotten to the point yet where you understand when to turn that on and turn that off.
Yeah. And,
No, and
when
then
what's
also-
appropriate and what's not. And when,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I never just cussed when I was out with my friends around other adults. Like we cussed when we
Right.
were at the playground or by ourselves. We
Right.
never were just out and about be like, fuck ass bitch. And there was like, as an 80-year-old woman next to us. These kids nowadays, they do that and they don't bat an eye. So that's where it becomes, like you said, more of an issue. And the lesson has to be, rooted deeply more in like, hey, this is how you're portraying yourself versus more of a color issue.
Mhm.
But it's very much both. I mean, and like I said, I think the Black people were much more used to it. We're taught it. We were able to switch it on and off because we understand that.
It's so ingrained in our culture that we do that we continue to perpetuate it with each other as we grow. And
That's going to be interesting for next episode as well, which is about Riley using the N-word in the teacher. Then.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh yeah,
that's actually that'll be a good.
That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. So
we'll lead into it. So we'll just stop right there. That was our producer's way of going. Shut up. We'll talk about it.
forever
next time.
A little bit. I mean, we are now hitting 2.5 hours. If you are a Patreon patron,
you're getting some extra goodies.
Speaking of which, you've got probably, if you are not one of our Patreon members, there's probably an hour of conversation that you've missed out on. I don't know what it's going to get cut to, but
I try to go to an hour and a half.
Yeah, usually we're doing this for an hour and a half, and we're at about 2.5 hours now.
Yeah.
So
And I know you missed me. So
$1 a month, and you can hear more of us and our beautiful voices as we talk about the mundane and the important.
Yeah.
For just $1 a month.
For just $1 a
you
month.
can listen to more of the Queens of
Give
Wood.
me arms of you.
Exactly. We need Sally Struthers too.
Right? Looking like she needs $1 a month herself.
I don't even think
Hey,
about.
she was with,
I wish that when I thought of Sally Struthers, I thought of the Sally Struthers that would appear on TV. But
Mhm.
instead, what I think of is the South Park version of Sally Struthers.
Maybe that.
I always think of her I think of her, Daddy. Like I always think of
All in the
this.
Family.
Mhm.
All in the family. Yeah.
Little girl.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that TV show could not be on today. Speaking of something
I don't
else.
know.
Anyways,
They are remaking Good Times.
they are
they're
into a
in an
cartoon,
animated
which
version.
I'm excited about. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some, I mean, there are people who are trying to take the more controversial stuff from our past and
that's
reboot
Norman
it.
Lear. I mean, yeah. It's
like a lot of those shows, like back in the day, they talked about things like abortion and suicide when those were words that, you know, our parents' generation would never even say in mixed company.
True.
Or even
and
being
I look
gay.
back and I go,
Even being gay,
everybody was,
exactly.
oh my God, wow. But they were so, you look back at some of the stuff that they said in movies.
Oh, wow.
I think about,
shit.
what were we watching the other day? We were watching Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh,
Oh,
And the way
God.
that they referred to
That did
the way that they
not hold
referred
up.
to the guy in there.
That one
That was
depressed
like,
me that it didn't
whoa.
age well. Like, when you're a kid, you don't understand date rape or
Oh,
even
man, 'cause
like
he-
non-consensual sex, because technically it seemed like they were consenting, but then it wasn't the person she thought it was.
Yeah, they bring that up. Yeah.
Oh,
Martin
that
even. I was watching
nerd.
Martin.
Yep.
Yeah. I was even watching Martin. I was like, ooh, I would love to see Martin. But Martin definitely couldn't even still
yeah.
tell some of the
There's
jokes.
language
told.
that definitely
Uh,
would have to change, and jokes that would definitely have to
yeah.
change. But I think, like with All in the Family, I think what it comes down to is All in the Family would be a good show if it was like a conservative show, a conservative family who had like a leftist grandkid that every week taught them a new lesson about what the real world is like and what, you know, and how socialism actually could be pretty good and would take care of people. And
It was just very honest because it was very much about the times, you
Yes.
know, good times, you know, it was poor people. It was people.
yeah.
I remember the episode where the lady, they found out that she was eating like, she would eat cat food occasionally, or she would eat like horse meat because she had to.
Yep.
Well, look at it now. You know what I'm saying? Where were people, these people that we see homelessness is crazy. But what were these people doing to live or to make it before? And what are they doing to make it now? Like, so it would have a connection. And I think that, you know, if it were like a grandpa role, an Archie Bunker probably wouldn't be as controversial. It would be shocking, but there would be some truth in the shocking things that, you know, he said. So I think it would be just how it was produced and how it was written, but it probably could. Like it would just, you know.
Anybody out there who wants to do that, like,
Right?
you know, credit us. We're good.
I was just about to say that. Just make sure. If we put it out there, but yeah.
All right. All right. Any other final thoughts and goodbyes that we want to say? Anything happening this week that people should keep an eye out for or anything?
I'm going back to recording Menage with Mary J. Maven. I took a little bit of a break after 420.
Woohoo!
And
Nice.
Hubby with this new little toy. His little toy. So yeah, we have that going on. And I think, I'm back to educating. So I am now with Trust Trees, which is a education brand within the cannabis industry. And I'm with Can, which is a seltzer, which has THC and CBD. So I am back to educating, and I'll be back out there. And you guys will, you know, any listeners are going to be in the Sacramento area, come out and see me.
By the way, real quick, MJ, back to recording with Podskier. If you'd like to be, we record on Monday evenings. If you're available next Monday evening at 7.
I am.
Awesome.
We'll talk offline. Yes, I'm ready because, you know, somebody wants to forget a special episode. Somebody, I don't know.
Extra special episode.
Extra.
Hey, Lindsay,
so
how
we're-
about you? You got anything going on that you want to talk about or tell us about?
Nah. All I do is work.
Work.
One of these days, we are going to drag you away from work. All right, then. Yeah. Okay. On that note, then, I guess we'll see everybody next week. Love y'all.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I need you to get the hell up out of here.
Hey, thanks for joining us as we make our way through the trials and tribulations of the Freeman family. We hope to see you back again next time for the S word.
Want to know where to find us on the social medias or where to subscribe to the podcast? Just head right over to www.theboondockspod.com/links.
Have a stupid white people question you want to leave us? Email us at host@theboondockspod.com or leave us a voicemail at 760-933-8636. That's 760-we-3-undo.
Shout out to the artists who have created our intro and outro tunes. Our intro is #MakeAChange by KIRK. You can find them on Spotify, iTunes, and Tidal. Our outro is Good Times by Audio Binger. You can find them on freemusicarchive.org and YouTube.